Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anastasia and today I'm going to talk about the most common plants or some of the most popular plants on YouTube. And when I say YouTube, it's basically people who either love plants or people just buy plants for the sake of buying. But for me, I love plants. So, ever wondered why when you visit some of your friends, they just tend to have more and more plants? Yeah, it's because they simply love them. Really, really love them. And some of the most popular plants, of course, that I'll be talking about are just not on YouTube, but basically by people who, one, know about plants, two, are enthusiastic about plants, three, know a bit about plants. Either know them by the fact that they are environmentalists or out of acquired knowledge in school. Personally, it's acquired knowledge on all worlds, I would say. Because one, I grew up around nature. Number two, I picked up interest when I bought my first plant, which was a cacti actually. And it was just so small and cute. And then I went again and bought another. And basically what I wanted, because I live in an apartment, and I wanted to add a bit of an oomph, a bit of green. I do not like plastic plants. I do not like plastic plants. I do not think highly of people who buy plastic plants either. I have nothing against them, but I still don't think highly of people who go to a shop and buy a plastic plant. Anyway, most common houseplants or most popular houseplants. The first I would say is on this list. First on this list I would say is the spider plant. And a spider plant is such a beautiful plant. This one I keep outside because my house is at the moment full of plants. And the spider plant, which is it has a scientific name, which is, let me just read that out, Chlorophytum Comosum. Chlorophytum Comosum. I'm looking at my screen, so I'll be doing that a little bit. And it's such a beautiful plant, and it flowers, white flowers, and then with time, as it grows, it begins to develop little spider plants as well, and you can be able to actually transplant those into a smaller pot like I've done here. So, and then you can end up having many little spider plants that give you more baby or more plants as well. Now, the spider plant is actually recommended by NASA, though this was based on an experiment made by astronauts on space, and the ability for such a plant to be able to purify the air while in space. It's the same concept a lot. You've seen a lot of videos on YouTube talking about some of the air purifying plants. Based on that logic, then this is a house that you can, it's a plant that you can really keep indoors, and it can purify your space, give you more fresh air, and look beautiful as a statement plant. We're going to move to that next plant, and this is one very common plant, the aloe vera, which originates actually from Africa. I have many of these. I got a lot of these, and then sometimes they give a bit of bulbs, little mini plants, and you can be able to transplant them. The aloe vera is very good for the skin, and I'm going to read that out. It's a succulent, known very well for its health and beauty benefits. As I say it again, cultivated originally from Africa and used a lot for the skin, for the treatment of many ailments in Africa. I know people who basically use aloe vera in everything. But the one thing about aloe vera is you always have to find the right one for the skin, which is the Aloe bandensis. I don't know whether that's how it's pronounced. It's a hard one. But benden, anyway, I'll put it somewhere there. But because the first aloe vera, or the first aloe that I bought, it wasn't good for my skin. I could feel, the itchiness. Even when you cut it out, the middle part still it was itchy. But this is the gel inside is very soothing to the skin, and I've put it to the test. My skin has been having a lot of problems, so I combine my skin routine with a bit of aloe in it. The next plant that I'll talk about, it's a popular one. But this one you can keep it indoors, outdoors, based on how you feel like. This is the Sansevieria, or popularly known as snake plant. And it's such a beautiful plant, this one. I'll put a photo of the variegated version. It's absolutely beautiful. It's big and it's outside my apartment. Again, such a beautiful plant. It's easy to care for, just like the aloe. I think watering, you can water even once a week or even once in 2 weeks, and it will still be fine, just like the aloe vera as well. It doesn't need a lot of water. It, however, is not a succulent. This is not a succulent, it's just a hardy plant, and it can survive in any condition, far as I'm concerned. I live in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, so we do not get winter, so I'm not sure how. I would not recommend for people living in places that experience winter, because I've not lived there, but I know it's a hardy plant. It can survive anything, and I believe it can even survive winter if you keep it indoors. The next plant I'll talk about, it might not be a really popular plant to most people, but it's a popular plant among plant enthusiasts, and this is the peace lily. The scientific name is Spathiphyllum Wallisii. Spathiphyllum Wallisii. That's a scientific name. Again, it's a beautiful plant. Usually produces the white, you can see the white flowers. It has big leaves based on, how you care for it. This requires a lot of water, so just keep the soil moist. But again, do not overwater it. That is, as part of loving water, it doesn't mean that you overwater the plant. It's just ensuring that it gets water, at least I would say based on also the pot that you have. I use a plastic pot, so it tends to retain water. So as you can see, I watered this. When did I water this? On Sunday, and it's still quite damp. So you can be able to just touch the soil with your finger and feel how damp the soil is, and then you can determine whether to water the plant or not. Now, as for the white leaves, these are hard to come by, honestly. Once it leaves the shop, the plant shop, the flowers just dwindle with time. They die out, of course, and then the green ones is what comes up. But what I've been able to do for this white one to come out, I did a mixture of not a mixture, but actually I used banana leaves and put them in a mason jar. Just put a full, after eating the banana, of course, put the banana peel inside the mason jar, put water, and I just stuck it in the fridge for a couple of weeks. Then removed it, let it cool down, and then I put that banana mixture, the water, into the soil. But it's a bit messy. I tried it because I saw that on YouTube. It's a bit messy because anyone who doesn't like or is a bit OCD on some of these things, it's hard to do DIYs that are all messy and all that. Then it draws a bit of fruit flies. So if I try that again, maybe I'll go for the whereby you dry the banana peels, you dry them, then blend them, then just get the crushed version. That I would do. But the other version of water, putting it in water or putting it in the soil, I mean, if you have a big compound, it's fine. You can make compost and all those things, but I'm not able to do that because I live in an apartment. But such a beautiful plant. Again, this is also a plant that was recommended again by NASA as an air purifying plant. And I mean, you've seen all those videos on air purifying plants according to NASA. So it's recommended again. According to the astronauts that did the experiment, this plant was also contributed a lot to purification of air in space within the spacecraft. You'll forgive me if my video is too natural. I'm not much on, doing a very polished video because these are homemade videos. They're supposed to just be natural and not rehearsed. The next plant I would like to talk about is it might not be a very popular among just anybody, and it's heavy. I'm gonna have to lift it. I'm sitting down. This plant, this is a Dracaena. Now, this particular Dracaena, I'll be honest with you, it's been quite something. Yeah, it's been quite something because I'll tilt a little bit. It originally came in a plastic pot, and it was just so sad. Absolutely sad. If you're able to look at, I don't know, some of the leaves are like brownish. I had to cut some of the leaves, and then what I did also to revive it, because it just looked like it was about to die. Actually, part of it were rotting, so I removed all the soil, all of it, all the soil that I bought the plant with. Put compost, or rather soil mix, but basically compost mix, and as you can see, yeah, it's doing a little bit better. It looks fresh. It doesn't look like it's struggling to grow. So my experience with the Dracaenas, I mean, according to YouTube again, and I watch a lot of videos like Planterina. She talks, I love her plant collection, and she's such an enthusiast about plants, and herself, you know, being a landscaper by default, she shares some very good tips on plants and all that. So in the West, maybe the US and in Europe, I'm sure, because these actually come originally, if I'm not wrong, come from Colombia, you know, that side of the world. And then they get to the Netherlands, and then Netherlands is, they're able to, of course, make some of these, and then of course there are nurseries across the world anyway. But originally, if I'm not wrong, these come from those sides of Latin America, the Dracaena, tropical, and they should be very easy to care for if you have the good conditions for them. They have another Dracaena that's actually outside. I would not recommend that you put them outside, but because that I got from the streets of Nairobi, and I thought, it just didn't look pretty enough to be put inside. So that's why I got this one. I'll be monitoring how this one, behaves, whether the changing of the pot into a clay pot was important. I'll give an update on that sometime, I hope. So I would say the other plant is the Monstera. The Monstera, it's an easy plant to care for. I'll put a photo here because my Monstera is massive, and I have three types of Monstera. The Monstera deliciosa, which is basically just green, over here or here. I'll put a photo. I took a photo from outside. My Monstera stay outside, so I saved the Monstera deliciosa. Then I have the Thai constellation, and there's a bigger version of that. I think the variegated Monstera deliciosa. I'll put a photo as well. The three. So I have two variegated and one just plain green, and it's massive. Actually, all of them are just massive. What I realize is that when I put my variegated Monsteras inside, they're not able to produce chlorophyll, and the white parts, actually, because they're not getting enough sun, what happens is they become black. So the white part just becomes completely black. So being in Nairobi, it's a sunny place. I mean, the weather, it's sunny, cloudy, and if it's cold, it's in the months of June, July. And then my house as well, the temperatures are very cool. It's a very cool house, such that even for succulents, if I water once a week, they're going to just die and become soggy. They absorb the water. That's how cool my house is. So what I've realized is that my Monsteras thrive very well outside. So again, the green Monstera, which is the Monstera deliciosa, is a common or a popular plant that and you won't kill it. Two other plants that for me have died, that is the jade plant. I don't know, I killed my jade. My jade plant just died because as I spoke about, how cool my house is, the stem began to rot. It just began to rot slowly, and I took it outside, tried to rehabilitate it, because according to YouTube, the best thing you can do is propagate the leaves. But I was impatient. I was really impatient. So I just did away with the entire project and said I would have to get another jade plant. But we're talking about common house plants. I recommend the jade plant. For those big on feng shui, then that is a plant that represents prosperity, represents abundance, and in simple terms, for those who are big on success, money. But I had it because it's a beautiful plant. It's, you know, very, the leaves are shiny and green and just beautiful, and the stems are very thick. So I love the jade plant. I'll get another and then I'll do a video on it. The other 3 plants I would like to talk about that are common is the Peperomia, and this is the rubber, what is it called? The baby rubber, or just the rubber plant. There is a variety. I have a rubber plant. I'll put a photo here. But this is not a Peperomia. This is just a rubber plant. I don't know the scientific name. I'll put it again here. And it's an easy, very easy plant to take care of. There is one that has the variegated pinkish tone, and then there's one with the like creamish or yellow tone. That's how I'd like to differentiate them. And then there's a rubber plant that is just very green, and then I'll put a photo here. So there are 3 varieties of the rubber plant, but this particular one, Peperomia, is a different. I don't know that they're related really, because they're very, very common. They're very common. The Peperomia are succulents. There's a variety of them. One is a rubber version, and the other is the, what do I call them? It's like the leaf looks very spongy, and you know, it's like it looks smooth. Well, it's not smooth. It looks spongy. It's like you can just sleep on it. But they're very tiny, very small leaves. I'll put a photo here. I've not gotten Peperomias yet because the last time I saw them, I was not really as enthusiastic because they're so. The ones that I saw were small, and I wanted a bigger Peperomia because I get impatient with small plants unless they're succulents. You know, unless they're like the tiny, like Haworthia, cacti, you know, those ones. Those, because I keep them, I don't bother to water, and I'm not really bothered. So, anyway, so rubber plant, Peperomia, that one. It's a common, and I think in the States, in Europe, I don't know about Kenya. I need to really try and get into that community of plant enthusiasts because I would like to see what people have in their houses. Then the weeping fig, or the Ficus Benjamina, that is very common actually among even people who do not know much about plants. I've seen it a lot in offices, restaurants. Yeah, so it's a common plant. You can get it for your indoor space as well. It's big. I'll put a photo here. It grows big. It has smaller leaves, but you know, grows puffy with time, and it has a long stem. The other plant that really disappointed me, and I was very upset for a very long time, for months actually, is African violet. I think I did a video on it. I'll put a photo here or a video. A beautiful small plant, grows out into, again, puffy leaves. it was such a disappointing plant because I got it together with my kalankoi or kalancho, whatever you call it. My kalancho also died, but then I propagated it because the stem, as I said, the conditions in my house are very cool, and I'm beginning to notice that they're killing the succulent like plants. For me, they're not able to survive inside, and remember, you can't also put them outside like the African violet. You just can't. It's beautiful. It had blue flowers. I was really disappointed because I got it from a place called the Yaya Center. There's usually a plant shop outside, and that's where I got it. And not to be able to enjoy, the plant and give updates about it, I was really disappointed. According to YouTube, of course, you can propagate the African violets, but I was just disappointed because the stem is not long enough for the leaf. I tried, but it was just dead. So in the future, when I get African violets, I'll water from below, because according to many, water from below, and I'll put it maybe not on an eastern facing window. I don't know. I'll have to really figure out how to do it, because that's sensitive to the sun, that's sensitive to too much water, that's sensitive to less water, because if you don't water with them, then they look like this. They're just such finicky plants. Them, African violets, and Fittonia, most difficult plants I've had, and the Alocasia poly, and that I'll be talking about them in the next video. So guys, remember, having a plant is easy. Sustaining the plant is the difficult part. But we can do this. Let's try and get more houseplants, and we get to take care of the environment and the air around us. So thank you so much, guys. I'll be ending this video. This is the first video after not doing a lot of videos. It's like a tongue twister. So I'm just getting the oomph of it. So I hope you like this video. If it's not that good, please do not dislike. I'm just being myself. But if you want recommendations for where you can buy plants, I recommend the shop at Yaya. There's another shop at Quick Mart, the one near Lavington. There are many other places actually, and then there are the places in the streets. And I'll talk about some of those plants that I got actually from the streets sometime in one of the videos. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And please remember, you can subscribe and let's share. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially my hair. But it's YouTube. Anything goes. Bye-bye.